You know, I watch interviews on YouTube of famous people the entire time, and they're often asked how they did it. And then they go on to tell you how they did it, and what it gave them, and so on and so forth. And the one thing that I find is often missing is almost nobody says, I didn't, he did, or it's thanks to him, or even really gives credit to where it is that it came from that let them achieve what it is that they did. You know, how often do you hear, without a Harvard Business School, I wouldn't be where I am today, or without a Wits University, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so people get boastful about where they are today. And, you know, Corinthians 1:31, therefore, as it is written, let the one who boasts boast in the Lord.
Come on.
Are we actually spending enough time boasting about this is all thanks to him? You know, you and I both know we've got a mutual friend, Dirk van Herden. And, you know, Dirk, you speak to him and he can't tell you what he's won at in the past week because he just says, I'm just blessed. Everything is a blessing. It's all good. It's all a blessing. And it's all thanks to him. And I look at Dirk's business, and I meet with Dirk every week or two, and I look at his business grow and grow and grow. And on his work shirts, it says, Jesus said, so it is, or something like that. And he loses clients because of it. And yet his business still continues to grow, and magnificent opportunities arrive in his lap. And yet he always says, I'm blessed by him, and I'm truly blessed. And I wonder what would happen, Tabs, if we were both to do that more. What would you guess?
Man, Rob, I love it. I love it. And I think what it does is it challenges me more, because I know that that's one thing that I do, and I do it without any fear in me, without any, like, I don't even think twice. When someone asks me, hey man, how did you get into Jacaranda? I literally tell them I cannot explain it besides the fact that God was in it. I cannot explain to you how I literally went from being a dental assistant into the country's #1 private commercial radio station. I cannot, it is mind blowing. I couldn't have done it in my own power. It's only through God that I could have done it. And it's quite amazing, because then people, it's almost like people are disappointed because they wanted this recipe of how it happened. And I'm like, I can't. The recipe is God. That is the recipe, you know. And I think it challenges me more, because even afterwards, there's a lot of things that have happened, of course, in the meantime, you know. I've grown. I've been in the business for 14 years professionally. I've added emceeing and professional DJing into my resume. I'm now an influencer. So all of that is also still God. It's not through me, and it's not through my hard work. And I caught myself actually saying that the other day, is that someone was asking me, man, but your rates, you aren't cheap, eh? And the immediate thing that I could say is that, hey man, I've been in the business for 14 years. Of course, I'm not going to come cheap. But I think there was an opportunity for me to actually minister. There was an opportunity for me to actually have told this person that, man, you know, God has been so good for me in my life, that in the 14 years that I've been with Jacaranda, and in the 14 years that I've been professionally doing what I do, I've grown, you know. And that is basically how he has helped me from place to place. This is all through him that I've grown, and that I can actually ask this rates. But immediately it was a me thing. It was, hey, you've done this for 14 years. You've worked hard and all of that, and that's why you can ask this rate. So there's always a moment for, and you say it so well, there's always a moment for discipleships. There's always a moment where you can say that, hey man, but this is not me. This is God that's doing this, you know? And I have to ask you the very same in your business and in your performance coaching. How often does God open that door for you to actually be able to talk about him?
The entire time. I mean, look, I've changed my whole business to be able to talk about him the entire time. I mean, that's a win, and that's all thanks to him as well. Like, it wouldn't have happened I wouldn't have been clever enough to figure out KingdomPreneur without him. That's for absolute certain. You know, I look back at the past, since I left school at 16, so past 38 years of my life, and it looks like a blur of confusion of jigsaw puzzle pieces that don't match. And I've done cool stuff, right, all over the world. I mean, there's no shortage of cool stuff that he's sent me to go do and permitted for me to go and open the doors for me to go and do. And I've spent so much of my life feeling lost, not lost, but like it doesn't make any sense. Like as you say, dental assistant to DJ on the country's biggest privately owned radio network, right? It doesn't make any sense. And my past 36 years up until quite recently, haven't made any sense. Like professional kayaker to sports coach to business owner to trying to retire to this to homesteader to all of this stuff to pastor in church on occasions. I mean, it's just weird, right? And yet none of it was me. It was all him.
Come on.
And he gave me all those experiences and all those bits of the jigsaw puzzle to be able to read the Bible in the way that I read it now, which seems different to other people on occasions. There's a different episode in the future, but to be able to work with such a breadth of Christian business owners and entrepreneurs and have a context of understanding from multiple millions, billions even, all the way down to haven't made my first 5,000 Rand yet, don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going to, and that ability to relate. But none of it's me. I'd love to tell everybody it was me, but it would just be a lie. It's just not true. But I think, I was on a podcast on Saturday and we were talking about the difference between belief and trust, right? And trust is doing the thing you believe. And then actually then maybe there's gratitude after that, which is saying thank you for the thing you've trusted in. And I think a lot of us want to boast about what we've done. But have you read the Bible? Because what we've done really isn't very much.
Ooh.
And if I had a child who was boasting about what they've done, and yet what they've done is not even 1% in comparison to what I have done, probably wouldn't look that favorably on them.
Yeah.
Especially if they try and outboast in a glamorous, loud way that maybe tries to outplay me. Probably wouldn't look that favorably. You'd go, oh, idiot, can't be bothered with that person. Oh, I'll forgive them, but whatever. And if you read the Bible, read the Old Testament, read the New Testament, like what you've done to be so is miraculous. In many respects, what I've done is miraculous in the journeys that we've had, but they pale into insignificant to what Jesus did. Sure. They pale into insignificance to what the journey that God went on to create the earth, and then flood the earth and just keep one family and animals 2 by 2 and press reset and start again and so on and so forth. What really do we have to boast about when we think about it in that context?
Yeah. Yes. No, it's mind-blowing because there is nothing. There is absolutely nothing. And you've just put some stuff into perspective there that didn't even think about when I thought about this, of being boastful. And I think the story that you just mentioned also speaks about how we should really be dependent on God. And it's another thing that I got out of this thing is that we should be so dependent on God to know that He is the one who did everything and who's still going to do way more. I think my my dependence at times as well starts getting blurry when stuff don't happen, stuff don't happen that I can be boastful about, and I think it is indeed for that reason, because God wants us to experience things and to be dependent on him and first, and then experience things that we ourselves would not be able to say it was me, but it was God. And I love such stages, and I love getting into such positions, because there's been, even in the past 3 weeks, there's been stuff that's been happening in my life, and I'm like, your dad, this cannot be me. And you sometimes play the story out in your mind, right, of how it's going to be, when it's going to be like that. In 5 years, it's going to be like this, or this is how this is going to play out. And then God just comes and does what he does. He does what he does best as God. And he literally changes the story around, and he literally places things beyond your expectation, even in your life, which teaches you more to be dependent on him. So I've literally shifted my mindset in the boasting as well, in saying that, okay, God, I depend on you. Like, whatever should happen in this place or in this area of my life, I literally give it all to you. I depend on you, because I know that the outcome will be an outcome where I'll be able to boast about your power and your might in my life.
It's he's given us the ultimate blueprints in the instruction manual that some people will call a Bible, right? He's given it. Like, if you want to make a huge business with huge wealth, if you simply go and spend time in Proverbs, in Kings, in Corinthians, and in Acts, everything you want to build $1 billion business is within those 4 books, right? If you want to learn how to market that business, let's just go to John and Mark and Peter and Paul, because everything, well, not Paul, but everything else is in there in terms of how to market a business and do sales. He's given it to us. And so many of us spend all this time sucking in business information from books, which frankly we don't really do anything with anyway. Let's be honest about it. We listen to the audiobook, like, yeah, that was nice. I listened to this book by this person, blah, 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 blah. He's given us the blueprints. All we need to do is spend time with him in his word, interpret them into what it is that we feel, the talents we feel obliged to go and multiply. Let's just say that's a business. Use some creativity to go, okay, cool. Well, Jesus taught lots of people how to fish and told them, we spoke the other week, fish on net on the other side, so on and so forth. A business is just a fisherman with an ocean of fish, right? And the fish are the customers. The more customers you have, the more successful the business is. The more fish there is, the more successful the fisherman is. It's all there, so therefore we don't have much to boast about, because it isn't our clever idea about how to grow a business. And if we claim it is, we're kind of insulting the Lord, because we're actually saying, my idea is better than yours. It's not. I just stole my idea from you, because it's there originally, 2,000 years ago was written, and it's been there ever since. And yes, there's prayer. Yes, there's meditation on the word. Yes, but there's also a obligation for us Christian business owners to practically interpret the words into useful stuff for us as business owners. Like, let's stop being fluffy about this and going, discipleship of the word happens from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. 5 days a week and sometime at the weekend. Let's actually go, right, cool. Like King Solomon in Proverbs, the richest man who ever lived, his how-to is within Proverbs, right? Like, why are we busy trying to do all this other stuff and so on and so forth? And so maybe we just need to go and stop thinking about I and start thinking about him and realize it's all there in a gift. And I wonder how much of the gift we're ignoring.
Ooh. Justy. Oh man, that's so true.
There you go.